Hello, I'm Paula Dimming from the board game YouTube series Things Get Dicey and the board game podcast This Game is Broken. And I am here today with Jacob Wisniewski and Michael Ozan from Glass Cannon Unplugged, the makers of Apex Legends, the board game. And today we're going to go over the round structure of the game. So I know you've all worked really hard to design the round structure of Apex Legends, the board game, to allow players on the same team to cooperate with each other, and also to translate the abilities of the legends that we know from the video game as faithfully as possible into the board game. So I want to talk a little bit about how you've done that. Now, I know we've got a round board, and it has a round track and an initiative track. So can we start by talking a little bit about the role that the round track plays in the game?
First of all, howdy everyone.
I didn't let you say hello at all. I just was like, let's talk about rounds. I need to know.
Don't worry. We're excited to be talking about it. So the round structure, well, this is nothing new known to board gamers. It might be something new to fans of Apex Legends, especially in the video gaming world, and also to some wargamers out there willing to give our tactical skirmish board game a try. So the round tracker basically tells us how deep into the length of the game we are, and it helps us divide the structure of the whole game and what happens when. So in Apex Legends, the board game, several events occur during the gameplay, such as this is a representation of Apex Legends, the ring must shrink. Right. So the round tracker basically tells us when those miniatures of the ring change their position to shrink the play area, but they also indicate when players and how much of it take damage when they perform actions outside of the ring. And that value changes with the course of the game. So the more towards the end of the game we are, the deadlier the damage of the ring becomes. The other thing that happens during and can happen during our playthrough is the supply drops. They come falling down, bearing some epic weapons, epic attachments, and basically OP stuff. And everyone wants to get to them. And that track tells us when you can expect for the supply drops to land on the board, and the cards will tell you more or less where they will.
And the very important thing is when the particular game ends. So how much time do we have to fulfill the objective? Like, for example, in the standard battle royale mode is to score 1 kill per each legend, for each enemy legend, right? So, of course, when the ring closes to the final smallest place and the round track goes to the finish spot, the game ends and we count victory points or any other winning conditions.
Okay, so then let's take a look at the initiative track. So it looks like it has 2 full rounds on it. Michael, maybe you can tell us a little bit about why you chose to put 2 rounds on that track.
For the initiative track, it is quite interesting thing here because we are putting 2 rounds on it. Why is that? It is because when we track legend abilities, their powers, the ultimates, we need some space to let them not only be immediate, but also have some duration during the gameplay. That is why we show 2 rounds on this track to show the activation of one team, second team. Then we have a sub phase where we move to another round, right? Because the initiative track shows 2 rounds. And then again, we have activation space for one and the second team.
It's also super important for abilities like Gibraltar's bombardment or the ability that Bangalore possesses that also causes like rockets falling down from the sky and damaging players on the board. Why is it so important?
There is delay when you activate the ability and when it falls from the sky, right? And the other team need to react on them, has chances to react, right? So that is why this is divided in time and space between the activation of ability and the execution of it.
In the video game, you have seconds to react because it's indicated by points of the UI. And here in the board game, each moment is kind of stretched in time. And to represent that, we have this unique round structure.
So it sounds like it's there to help with the flexibility of the timing of those abilities, and also to make it so the players don't have to like keep track of this thing that's supposed to happen a round from now. They don't have to keep that in their brain. They have it set in front of them.
Exactly. And they can react, because there's nothing more frustrating than someone using this pesky ability that basically takes half of your health and you not being able to
do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like super frustrating. And we're aiming here for tactical gameplay. And that's not very tactical if one of the legends can simply nuke the others.
Yeah. So in a minute, I want to talk more about the timing of abilities, maybe go into some more detail about that. But first, I think we should go over the actual steps that happen in each round. So can we kind of go through those a bit one by one on like the team turns?
Sure. So at start, we check if some abilities were cast for this particular round. And if not, then we can move towards the legend activation. Okay. So team red and team blue, first team activates, then the second team activates. And after both team activations, we move the initiative marker further, right, to the transition phase, in which we move the round marker. So this is, as we said, we've got 2 rounds listed on the initiative track. So now we are moving the round marker to mark that another round started. So this is the point, we mentioned it already, that this is the time when ring damage is executed for legends that are outside the ring. And
so I guess they've had that whole round to know, oh, I'm outside the ring, and if I don't get inside of it by the time transition phase happens, I'm going to take this damage. Yeah,
someone pushed me out of the board, right? To the ring. Yeah, there are different effects that we can make harm to each other, right? And then after this, we move cooldowns down, because as in the original game, all the abilities we use for the legends have their own cooldowns to block players from using them time after time, right? It is a huge decision for a player to use cool ability, especially the ultimates. And after this, we draw feat cards. Each legend draws 1 feat card, which are showing the differences between the legends, their gameplay style, etc.
So first, all the legends on one team will activate, and then all the legends on the other team will activate in the round, and then of course the transition phase. So I'm curious why you decided to do the activations in teams rather than like one legend and then the legend from the other team and then the legend from the first team and then the legend from, back and forth.
Yeah, so we wanted to highlight the team play aspect of the game, basically, because when both legends activate from one team, it's easier for them to coordinate and then cooperate, because it's easier for me to say, hey, Michael, let's, you go down that alley, you go right and maybe loot for some ammo or new weapons. And I'll go and, throw some smoke grenades so that you don't get hit. Right. So this really enhances the team play and allows players to coordinate. And we've tested various approaches, but this one was most satisfying to us and all the playtesters, we just thought that it just feels great to be able to plan together, to strategize. It's almost like, in games like Twilight Imperium, if you're playing or at least for a while, you're playing together before you turn on each other, and then you strategize together, like whisper to each other's ears, and say, "Oh, let's do this." So basically, that's something that enhances this.
It is also much easier if you play two legends as a single player. It is also much easier to coordinate that, right?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So let's say it's my team's turn and my legend activates. What are the actions I can do?
Okay, they are very simple and they're very standard. So we can move, you can interact with some loot crates, with other legend to swap some items. You can use items from your inventory. So it is like taking syringe kit or throwing a grenade, and also you can attack. So shoot with a weapon or make a melee attack, right? So this is very, very straightforward things that you can do. But of course, it is not the only stuff. As we mentioned before, we've got also abilities and feat cards.
Yeah.
So instead of performing action, you can use your ability to make something epic and cool. Use like a bombardment, as Jacob mentioned. So we will blow part of the board to pieces, right, using this ability. Or we can use a feat card. So feat cards are showing the play style of the legends. They are those smaller powers that we can find in the original Apex game, translated into the language of board game.
Powers and also play styles. Because they represent the sort of like signature moves, going in fast somewhere, guns blazing, or shooting and jumping back. To anyone who's familiar with skirmish games and war games in general, there are usually stratagems or whatever they are called for various armies or teams or individuals that represent their playstyle, that give them sort of like another layer of individuality. And this is exactly what happens with the legends and the feat cards.
Of course, we can use those cards also in different ways, because if you do not see a situation that uses the particular card well, you can always spend it as a more standard action like moving, right? Yeah. So you're not blocked.
Oh, great. And does it cost anything to play the feat card?
Time, because it spends your activations, right? We've got two activations in a round. So for example, I can move and I can shoot, right? Or I can move
and some. Yes, exactly. And some cards, for some legends, they are free, let's say, and they don't cost any additional points. So you can sort of, if you stack on these, you can perform a really deadly combo.
Or you can use them as reactions, because some of them are also the reaction cards. So there are plenty.
So you've broken the abilities in the game down into 3 different timing keywords. Can you explain those to me? I think they're immediate, duration, and delay.
Yes, we did it because when you play Apex Legends, some effects are immediate. For some effects you need to wait, and some effects also have some duration for some time, right? So we needed to have immediate effects that we play and we execute them directly. We've got some effects that have duration X rounds. It's, for example, Bloodhound's Eye of the Allfather, when you use your ravens to mark enemy characters on the map. So you are not removing the ravens immediately after the round ends. You wait the duration of the ability to do that.
And usually all the abilities that have duration have some kind of physical representation so that players don't need to be constantly like checking if something is active. They see it on the cooldown track or duration track, or they see it on the board. It's represented by a miniature or a token.
And there are also effects abilities with delay X rounds. So those describe the effects that you need to wait for. For example, you call a bombardment and you need to wait a while for the projectiles to arrive on board. So other players have time to react on the new situation on board.
Not to spoil too much, the bombardments are not the only thing you'll be able to call down from the skies.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe spoil a little something for us. You could give us a little hint.
Stay tuned for the next videos.
Well, there you have it. You'll have to stay tuned because we are done now talking about the round structure of Apex Legends, the board game. That's all they're willing to tell me. Jacob and Michael, thank you so much for talking with me today to help us better understand how a turn is going to look in this game. And thank you for watching and learning about it with me. If you'd like to read more about this, you can check out the full article on the topic, which is linked in the description below. And don't forget to follow the Kickstarter page for Apex Legends, the board game, also linked in the description below. And remember, Legends changed the game. Will you become one? Bye, y'all.